This is death.
All over the world, people feel a deep personal sense of grief. Last night, the focal point in London was the United States Embassy.
Well, I do miss say I'm heartbroken. Completely heartbroken. It's hard for my own personal sake, the whole world. He loved humanity, he loved America, he loved the people. He was a great man, he was honest, he was sincere. He was loyal, and that's so sweet. I'm so ashamed of so ashamed of America. That there's some nut would do this to this man. It makes us look like some immature children. But we're really not. The president never really had a chance to do anything in 3 years. You know, I hope maybe it'll wake up America that maybe didn't die in vain. Maybe it'll do something about the colored people in America. Maybe it'll bring progress in some way. Terrible. Progress, suffering, grieving, seeing the terrible wasted life of a wonderful man. And my sympathies for Mrs. Kennedy couldn't be. I came here just sort of feel closer to her.
It wasn't only Americans who were drawn to the American Embassy in Grosvenor Square. A common humanity brought men and women of all nationalities and races.
At the beginning, it was just purely a few people, lots of people there, and there were photographers, pressmen coming in with taxis, and suddenly a sort of surge of cars came through, and it's almost indescribable to think how many people of all kinds of nationalities. We ourselves met people from Sweden who had only been here a few days, another girls from Australia who had only all making it as a sort of a center for their expression of sympathy, the American Embassy.
I was in favor of Mr. Kennedy from ever since Mr. Kennedy started his policy. A man like that should never die, he should live forever. And I think Negroes should get the chance to do what they want to do because they were born in that country and they fought in 2 wars with the Americans to save the American country. They think more or less they should get the freedom to do whatever they want to do. And President Kennedy was the man who was going to help them to get this freedom. And the terrible incident took place, and I'm awfully sorry about it.
It wasn't only in Grosvenor Square that there was this huge flood of grief and sympathy. Londoners were saddened.
I'm a London taxi driver, and I was sitting in the armchair in my dining room watching the TV program when suddenly there was a news flash of great importance. It was announced that President Kennedy had been assassinated. I was greatly shocked. My wife was in tears. I start work on my cab at 5:30 in the morning, but I had done very, very little. I just simply can't get going. This has grieved me greatly. Everybody seems to be very, very hurt about this, and I find that the streets are quite empty. As if a funeral has been taken place this morning. I can't make it out. I still can't believe it. I think every living human being at this moment is sympathizing with Mrs. Kennedy. I do think that she...
In Aberdeen.
Well, really shocked at the thing of such a man like him giving peace to the world in general. You know, when you went about standing up to the communists, for example, Mr. Khrushchev, you really stood up to him. Well, I thought he was really the best president that's really hard. Because, well, it's been for what a beast that he could do, and, well, I think he was a great man.
People from Belfast.
Terrible tragedy for the world. I think he was one man we felt that was really in control of things, and we could all respect. Also the sudden personal loss. I think he made us a worldwide figure. They all felt sort of with him and watched him. He had a tremendous reputation, and it's been cut very, very short. And it's just a problem will ever be replaced with his man, I suppose.
Tyneside.
Well, I should think it's, like most people, it's a bit of a shock. And totally unexpected. Now, you wouldn't expect the sort of thing in a place like America. And it's hard to tell what will happen, from now on, whether it's going to mean any worsening of the international situation between the two, as it was before, the two Ks. Whether the new president, the vice president, will carry on as before, and everything will be as before. So I think he was good for the West. He seemed to have the right idea of what the ordinary man wished to have. At the same time, he's prepared to stand by what he said and to use the strong arm when it was necessary.
I think it's really tragic. I think it's really in the prime of his life, and he was really doing good for the country. I do. I think it's really tragic.
I do feel greatly sorry for his wife and his children. It must be a terrible thing for the brother grief of a terrible tragedy like that.
And Wales.
To me, as a Welshman, President Kennedy meant a great deal because we, Welsh people, as indeed people of many other countries, looked to President Kennedy as the leader and the hope of peace for us, for our children, and indeed for our children's children. As a message for Welsh people, I would like to say, on behalf of Welsh people, both in Wales and in other parts of the world, our deepest sympathy in this, one of our greatest of tragedies. And our amigos yn Gymraeg, yw'r wylwaith o Gymru sydd yn yr Unol Daleithiau cyflwyni ein cydymdeimlad mwyaf dwys.
East Anglia.
Those are just going down the street in the ordinary way, and somebody came up to him and said, "This is probably put the cat among the pigeons." I asked him what he meant, and he said, "Have you heard? President Kennedy's been assassinated." Well, I mean, half the fact was absolute stupefaction. You just couldn't realize the fact. And incidentally, a few minutes after that, going up the street, I saw an American getting out of his car. And I just happened to go up to the man and say, I was like to offer my sympathy as an ordinary man in the street to the dreadful news I just heard. But the poor man was so persistent that President Kennedy hadn't been killed. There was an element of hope. I just daren't tell him the real news, and I just had to walk away.
And Edinburgh.
Both the citizens of Edinburgh and the staff and students of its ancient university have been gravely shocked by the news of the assassination of President Kennedy. Youthful and courageous, he's striven for peace with honor in international affairs, while at home, as a great Christian leader, he's wrestled with the interconnected issues of human equality and national unity. His all-too-short period of office has had its international shocks over Berlin. But it's also had its international triumphs, too, as in the Test-Ban Treaty. In all these critical matters, he's exhibited wisdom and patience far beyond his years. The saddest comment I can make on the great tragedy of President Kennedy's death, and this is what we feel so strongly in Edinburgh, is that much as he has already done for the world, we know in our hearts that he could and would do much more.
And the grief and the sorrow was worldwide. When the news reached the United Nations building in New York, the immediate reaction was an incredulous silence. Peter Watson describes the scene in the General Assembly.
Inside the General Assembly, where just on the time delegates had risen to applaud President Kennedy, today they filed past the seats where the U.S. delegation was sitting to express their condolences. All members of the U.S. delegation stood as a throng of people from all nations and all races filed past, to shake Mr. Stevenson, the leader of the delegation, silently by the hand, and then move away to their seats to hear the President of the Assembly, Senor Sosa Rodriguez, call the meeting to order. While the delegates stood in silence, so too did the masses of people thronging the public gallery.
From Canada, reports were soon coming in of a people stunned almost beyond belief. Later in the day, Mr. Lester Pearson spoke to the Canadian people. He paid eloquent tribute to the friendship that existed between President Kennedy and Canada. He spoke of his own close personal relationship with the President, and he ended with these words.
When a free man falls courageously in action, all freedom grieves. But courage is made easier for others. When a young man and a good man is stricken, we all feel a little older. But we have a deeper resolve to be better ourselves. Mr. Kennedy was always firm and straightforward in expressing the viewpoint of his own country. But he was always understanding of the viewpoint of Canada. He was a man of generous mind, of generous instinct. He had a quality of mind and a quality of spirit far surpassing the usual quality even of men who become the leaders of great nations.
In Europe, the reaction to the news from Dallas, Texas, was dramatic indeed. Speaking from Rome, Patrick Smith described the reaction of the Pope and of the cardinals and bishops assembled in the city. As elsewhere, men and women in the streets were silent with dismay.
People here in Italy feel a personal loss at the abrupt passing of the biggest leader of the world at the zenith of his powers. Many saw him on his visit here last July. Many more were hoping to see him on an official visit to Italy early next year. Flags are flying at half-mast here and will remain at half-mast. Special memorial services are being held, and the Pope has said special prayers for the first Roman Catholic President of the United States, cut down so cruelly in the prime of life. The news deeply shocked the 2,000 and more Roman Catholic bishops attending the Vatican Council. Cardinal Spellman said it's a great loss to the country and to the world. And the Bishop of Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas, Monsignor Gorman, said this tragedy is brought here to what the violent solution of real or imaginary dissatisfaction really means. Many Italian commentators believe that the president was struck down because of his courageous work in the service of peace among all races and peoples. The Director General of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization here in France, said there have been few leaders in our time who've had such deep understanding. He was for the world which would be free from social injustice and inequality, a man whose death was mourned by people everywhere.
Today, the news from Europe is of a persistent sense of close personal loss. Charles Wheeler has just come back from a tour of West Berlin. He sends this report.
West Berlin is a lifeless city. There's a feeling in the air of the kind that follows a major catastrophe, and one that's occurred at home, not several thousands of miles away. People here will tell you quite simply that they had a respect and an admiration for this man that they never felt for a leader of their own. Indeed, the tributes that we heard from men and women in the street would seem extravagant if one hadn't seen the Berliners reacting to Kennedy among them last June, and reacting to the news of his death quietly, spontaneously, in the City Hall Square, in the rain and the crowd, just after midnight, 2 hours or so after the news broke in Berlin. The torchlight procession by students took people out of their houses, as it passed through the town, and in the square, the crowd seemed nearly as dense as that vast cheering mass who came to the same place 6 miles ago. I heard him say, unforgettably to them, I am a Berliner. This time, it was dark, and they were silent and miserable.
Wheeler spoke to a secretary. This is typical of the feeling of West Berliners.
I was absolutely paralyzed and horrified by the first news of the president's death. I wouldn't believe it at the first moment because it was the worst news which I ever had. The people here in this city, they especially were shocked because they regard Kennedy as their man. They felt his tears, they felt his sympathy, and they knew that he was the only man in the West who would help them and protect them in their struggle for freedom.
In Moscow, people were able to see from a direct television link, the first ever from the United States of America, the scenes in Washington as President Kennedy's body was taken to lie in state. Eric Demornay describes Russian reaction to the news as unprecedented.
It's been almost like a day of full official mourning in Moscow, with flags of photographs from all the embassies and people in the streets discussing the president's death in terms of shock and dismay. This evening, in the first direct relay by space satellite of television pictures between the United States and the Soviet Union, the Soviet television audience had an eyewitness view of part of the scene in Washington. When the sight blaring, they saw President Kennedy's coffin being carried into the White House, then the interior of the East Wing with the coffin being guarded by Marines. Here in Moscow itself, official cars have been arriving ever since midday at the residence of the American ambassador, Mr. Köhler, bringing diplomats to sign the special book of condolence. At noon, Mr. Khrushchev arrived in a black suit, looking grim and sad, and accompanied by the foreign minister, Mr. Gromyko. After they had signed the book, Mr. Köhler led them upstairs for a private talk lasting about 20 minutes. The embassy is transferred 30 days mourning. The Soviet press gave the news prominently on its front pages, and Izvestia has carried detailed reports from its special correspondents in Washington and New York. As for the reaction of ordinary Russians, people talking with Western reporters here have not concealed their grief and shock at President Kennedy's death. They've talked of him with respect as a man of wisdom who was trying to bring about better East-West relations, and they've expressed deep concern for the future.
In many Far East capitals, government leaders are wondering what the death of President Kennedy is going to mean to them and to their people. There is widespread uncertainty and uneasiness about the future. A bare announcement of President Kennedy's death was put out by the official New China News Agency, and a grudging tribute appears in the Chinese Communist press in Hong Kong. It has to be admitted, says the writer, that Kennedy was just the talent imperialism needed in time of a fascist. The Republic of Ireland, the President Kennedy so recently visited, and with which he had such strong family ties, breathes with the rest of the world. A short time ago, Janet Fitzgerald spoke to us from Dublin.
The sense of personal loss at the death of President Kennedy has been felt nowhere more acutely than in Ireland. Even before his visit here just 5 months ago, most Irish people had special feeling toward him. During this astonishing personal visit, his feeling deepened into general spontaneous affection of a kind normally felt for members of one's family. The news of his murder shattered him. As the message was flashed onto cinema screens, the audience shouted, many of them flocking to churches to pray for his soul. The Irish radio and television services dropped their published programs within minutes of the news and mounted an evening-long special program, the course of which President De Valera, who despite his 81 years going to Washington to represent the Irish people, paid a simple, direct tribute to the memory of the man who was his guest such a short time ago. A special late edition of the news opened news to tens of thousands of people in the streets of Dublin at 8:30. And during this weekend, most sporting fixtures are cancelled, while special services of commemoration are being held in many churches, Roman Catholic and Protestant. Ireland is a sad country today.
When the shots rang out at Dallas yesterday afternoon, it was a victory for the forces of intolerance and hatred, always and inevitably menacing the freedom and dignity of all. A momentary victory for the imbecile with a gun. Jack Kennedy dedicated his life to protect this nation and the world from the insanity of the man with the gun or the bat. Tonight, in a room in the White House, his body is prepared for its last task. We will remember that.
House in Washington. The capital, as well as the whole country, is indeed mourning. The $4 billion greatly moved the American public. President Kennedy was killed in the southern part of the country, in the hotbed of the racialists and the right extremists, which put up desperate resistance to all the steps taken by the president to do away with even the most frightening infringement of the civil rights of the Negro. The new president, Lyndon Johnson, arrived from Texas to Washington. On descending from the plane, he made his first public statement after taking his new post. He said that this was a real time for all the people. Just as the last said, with nothing message, he knew this is a powerful personal conflict. The real shared the faith of Mrs. Kennedy and of her family. I shall do my best. So can I can do. On his arrival, the new President of the United States went to the White House where a meeting was scheduled with the House of Representatives and with other high-ranking officials. Kennedy's Minister of Foreign Affairs received completed ahead of schedule the second atmospheric installation of the work with an annual capacity of 1 million tons of oil. Together with a first atmospheric which was commissioned towards evil countries and being international. President Lincoln was assassinated 100 years ago by the upstart late-order forces, so now President Kennedy became the victim of the reactionary forces. President Kennedy's murder is a very serious signal and warning to those circles in the USA which are concerned over the future of the American people and the American state. The course of history cannot be turned back. As President Kennedy has put it, the world is in a steady, slowly upward movement. President Kennedy's record is a short-lived one that has plowed very seeds in the soil of American political life. Let's hope that those who are now taking steer and control of the American state will develop these course as things in the interest of both the American people and the state and corporations in the world. Within our country, which dealt with the assassination of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy.